this Picmonic, we will learn about the innervations of the autonomic nervous system. Remembered by the story of the atomic automobile picking up hitchhikers on the way to Vegas. The autonomic nervous system controls unconscious processes, such as breathing and regulating blood pressure. The sympathetic branch is called the fight or flight response, and the parasympathetic aspect is often called rest and digest. Spinal segments T1 to T5 provide the autonomic sympathetic innervation of the heart. Therefore, visceral somatic and somatovisceral reflexes occur in this region, depicted by the heart with the T, 1 wand, and 5 hand. Spinal segments T5 to T9 provide sympathetic innervation to the upper gastrointestinal tract, or UGI, and visceral somatic and somatovisceral reflexes also occur in this region, shown as the upper class GI guy with a teapot, 5 hand, and fancy 5 lives cat. The innervation of the upper GI is done by the greater splenic nerve. The corresponding ganglion is the celiac ganglion. The middle gastrointestinal tract, or MGI, is innervated by spinal levels T10 to T11 via the lesser splenic nerve. The corresponding ganglion is the superior mesenteric ganglion. The upper genitourinary tract, or UGU, shares spinal levels T10 to T11 with the MGI tract in sympathetic innervation, and also via the superior mesenteric ganglion. You can remember this with the Middle Ages GI guy and upper class urinary tract with a T, 10-10, and double wands. The lower gastrointestinal tract, or LGI, receives input from spinal segments T12 to L2, innervated by the least splenic nerve via the inferior mesenteric ganglion. The LGI shares spinal segments with the lower genitourinary tract, or LGU. Recall them with a lower class GI guy and urinary tract with their T, carton of dozen eggs, and pet line with a tutu. The pelvic splenic nerve is a parasympathetic nerve that originates in the sacrum and innervates only structures below the diaphragm, including the LGI and the LGU tracts. Picture this with a pelvis and an S-plank. The vagus nerve is a parasympathetic nerve that originates from the brain and causes parasympathetic input to all the viscera above the diaphragm and some below the diaphragm. This includes the UGI, MGI, the ovaries, testes, and the UGU tracts. This, of course, can always be recalled by the welcome sign to Vegas. So in summary, the autonomic nervous system provides sympathetic and parasympathetic innervations to structures throughout the body, including the heart, all levels of the GI tract, all levels of the genitourinary tract, and the reproductive organs. The heart corresponds with spinal segments T1 to T5. The upper gastrointestinal tract, or UGI, corresponds with spinal segments T5 to T9. The upper genitourinary tract shares T10 to T11 with the MGI tract in the aspect of sympathetic innervation. The lower gastrointestinal tract corresponds to the T12 to L2. Lastly, remember the pelvic splenic nerves and vagus nerves are parasympathetic nerves.
We were somewhere around Barstow, at the edge of the desert, when the autonomics began to take hold. As we drove in our atomic automobile, we spotted a hitchhiker, a lonely heart, with a teapot as luggage. He was waving us down with a 1 wand and his 5 hand in the air, trying to get our attention.
Let's give this heart a ride.
So we picked him up without even thinking about it.
Hot damn, I never rode in a convertible before.
Further down the road, we came across a fancy fellow with another teapot, flying us down with his 5 hand. With a 9 lives cat at his side, this upper-class GI guy looked too rich to be hitchhiking. But we picked him up anyway. We couldn't stomach leaving him there. That's when we spotted another couple of wanderers with a teapot. One had a 10-tin, and the other had some ornate double wands. It was another GI guy, but he must have come from the Renaissance Festival or something, because he was dressed like he was from the Middle Ages. His partner with the double wands was a hoity-toity urinary tract. He looked extra fancy with those double wands.
For the rest of the story, check out Picmonic.com and sign up for a free account. There, you can also take Picmonic's quiz. The quiz automatically sets up your daily quiz by using spaced repetition algorithms based on the questions you've missed or struggled with to make sure you study what you need when you need to. And while you're there, check out the rest of our treatment modalities Picmonics. We've got all the content you'll need to remember. Everything from muscle energy, counterstrain overview, high velocity, low amplitude thrust, or HVLA, myofascial release and soft tissue, Zinc's common compensatory pattern, and so much more. So you can lock down on everything you need to know forever. Play, quiz, and spaced repetition. Efficient, effective, and research proven to increase exam scores.